Good morning and welcome to the Red Mic. Hope everybody's doing okay on this Tuesday morning. These Red Mic messages are leadership and life lessons I've picked up from 25 years as a public servant, 16 years as a youth football coach and scouting volunteer, and 10 years as a mediocre athlete with far more heart than actual physical ability. Today's Red Mic message, let's talk about preparation a little bit. Now, more years ago than I care to remember, in the middle of August, I would be well, it's 6:29 on a Tuesday morning. I would be up and at 'em and I would be getting ready to head to two-a-days. Two-a-day practices in football parlance is you practice once early in the morning and then you practice later in the evening in the heat of the day to, as the coaches would say, got to get you ready, son. um, a lot of pros and cons to it. The pros, of course, are you know preseason prep. Also, preparing in that type of environment, uh, two times a day, it's getting you mentally and physically ready to face the rigors of the season. Of course, there was a lot of conditioning, a lot of drills. You've heard me talk about Coach Tyler, drill, drill, drill over and over and over and over until the bodily actions that you took, step, dip, uncoil on the blocking. I mean, it was just so mm, ingrained into your physicality that it was almost a reflex at that point, right? Well, I made the bad decision my senior year. A couple of days of two-a-days. I only made it a couple of days, and then I realized, yeah, this is stupid. Don't do this anymore, Fortner. Um, I decided, you know what? I'm going to ride my bike to practice. And it was several miles from my house. We practiced in Coyote Canyon, uh, which decades before had been the home football field of the Wichita Falls High School Coyotes, and um, then they ended up building a stadium, and all of the schools played their games at the stadium, and Coyote Canyon became a workout facility. Well, now it's basically a bus barn. So, all things change. And my high school doesn't exist anymore as a high school anymore. That's a rant for another day. But well, anyway, my home was several miles from Coyote Canyon. So I thought, yeah, I can do this. And for a couple of days, yeah, I did. But man, by the end of that second day, I didn't want anything else to do with that bike. Um, you're practicing a couple hours, even starting practice, 8 o'clock in the morning. Uh, it's hard in Texas heat, but those afternoon practices, 100, whatever it is, even though they gave us plenty of water breaks and everything else, by the end of a second practice, you're just shredded and you don't want anything to do with anything physical. You want to go home, take a shower, do some stretching to make sure that you're not sore the next day. You want to eat something and you want to go to bed because you know it's all going to start again the next morning. So, yeah, riding the bike was a bad idea and I didn't do it long. Um, anyway, what does all that have to do with life and leadership and business? Well, two-a-days are intense preparation. And just like two-a-day players get into shape, you might go through sort of a intense prep phase, training sessions, strategy meetings before you launch a new product or a new feature or, entering into a busy season for your team. Building endurance, physical and mental aspects of two-a-days are, I just think they're invaluable. And as a leadership and business leader, you may want to have some type of, as they call it, a boot camp of sorts for your team. Um, but remember, of course, that Uh, they are professionals. You got to treat them as professionals. Don't do a lot of the mental, you know, conditioning that football coaches sometimes use. You know, real similar to what sometimes happens, obviously on a more advanced level, but sometimes happens even in you know, the military. Let's break them down a little bit and then rebuild them the way we want them to be. Obviously, you can't do that with business professionals, but there's nothing wrong with a concentrated effort of training, right? Team bonding, testing their limits, getting them into a discipline and routine. Again, what I said about Coach Tyler more than once is he believed in repetition. We're going to do it over and over and over until it's right. And by the time we do it over and over and over, it's going to be so ingrained in who you are and what you do. It's almost going to be like a rote mechanical memory. You're going to have that muscle memory built in. You know, building discipline, you know, building it into, you know, deadlines and other routines that you have in the business environment. I think they're so similar. It's it's really interesting to look at how similar they are. You know, and whether it's football or business, the goal, of course, is to be well prepared, resilient, and ready to perform at your individual highest level and to fit into that team dynamic. And that's today's Red Mike message. Hope you found it interesting. I hope you found it helpful. I hope that you will be back again tomorrow. I hope that you will give me a like, a follow, and a share. The like and the follows are great. I appreciate it. The share is equally important. Uh, please let other people know, hey, I've been listening to this guy for a while and I think you might find him interesting. I'd appreciate it. Uh, I got to get out of here and get up and at 'em. And don't forget, life is short. Drink the bourbon.